Hello and welcome back to the classes of Mastering Biology. And today we shall talk in detail about autotrophic mode of nutrition. All right. So let us begin with this topic for today, which is autotrophic nutrition. Now, I've already explained the definition to you. Auto means self and nourishing. That means a system which is self-nourishing. It synthesizes its own food, all right? The organism has the capability of synthesizing its own food. Now, it can get energy for that food either from the sun in the form of light. So, that is photoautotrophism. And when it uses chemicals, as in case of methane or sulfur bacteria, so there we call it as chemoautotrophism. All right. So when we'll be talking in detail about the photoautotrophic mode. Now the photoautotrophic mode means we will be talking about the process photosynthesis. What is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is the process by which green plants use inorganic raw material like carbon dioxide from air, and water from soil. They use inorganic raw material like carbon dioxide and water, and I've mentioned the sources also. And in the presence of sunlight and the green pigment. What is the green pigment? You all know the photosynthetic pigment. The most common photosynthetic pigment is chlorophyll. So this chlorophyll is used along with sunlight for this process of photosynthesis. So let's get back to the definition. The process by which green plants use inorganic raw materials like carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and the green pigment, which is the chlorophyll, to synthesize organic compound, which is glucose, and release oxygen as a byproduct. Now, why byproduct? Why not as a product? This word by refers to that this is something which the plant is not using for itself. It is giving out in the environment. So this is given out. Okay? So we use the word byproduct for oxygen and product for glucose. Glucose is a product because definitely the plant which is synthesizing will use some for itself also. Clear? So you should know this definition. So definition I have written in points. See, you can observe this thing that the first is use inorganic raw material. The second is in the presence of sunlight and the green pigment chlorophyll. And the third is synthesis of organic substances like glucose and releasing oxygen as a byproduct. So this is a very, very important way that how you have to present your definition of photosynthesis as per board standards. Fine. Then along with this, you will always accompany this definition with the balanced chemical equation. The balanced chemical equation says 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 12 molecules of water gives us, in the presence of sunlight and green pigment chlorophyll. Okay, I'll write directly chlorophyll only. All right, and this gives us C6H12O6 along with 6 molecules of oxygen and 6 molecules of water are given out. So this is the complete balanced chemical equation that you are supposed to write along with the definition of photosynthesis. This is the part you should know. Definition will have 3 steps. What are the raw materials that are used, from where you are getting it, along that you will mention. Then sunlight and chlorophyll. And the third will be what are the products. So products is glucose and oxygen is the byproduct. And then you get a chemical equation, the balanced chemical equation for photosynthesis. Let us proceed further. This is the definition and the equation part of photosynthesis. Now, what are the requirements? Requirements of photosynthesis. The first thing that is required is sunlight. The second thing which is required is the photosynthetic pigments, because without pigments, you know, photosynthesis cannot take place. The third thing that we need is carbon dioxide, and the fourth one is water. So these are the 4 essential requirements for photosynthesis. Let us have a look at them one by one. So the first one is sunlight. Now, when I say the word sunlight means the source of energy for all living organisms. What is this? The source of energy is sun. Now children, you know, sun gives us radiations. What we see is the white light. That is just a small part of the sunlight. Sunlight has many kind of radiations. There are alpha rays, gamma rays, beta rays, ultraviolet rays, infrared rays, all right? But what we see and what the plants can use in the process of sunlight is just a small part, and this part is VIBGYOR. This is what you can see. All right. So this comprises the white light. This comprises the white light. The wavelength of this starts from 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer. That means only this is the wavelength for photosynthesis. That is why this wavelength is known as PAR. Photosynthetically active radiations. And the range of this photosynthetically active radiation is 400 nanometer to 700 nanometers. All right. So, sun is the ultimate source of light for all of us on the earth. And plants can use only this small segment of the sun's spectrum. All right. And you know what is the sun spectrum known as? That is known as the electromagnetic spectrum, out of which plants can use only this part of the sunlight, which is the white light, which is the visible light. This is also known as visible light. So the wavelength of this ranges between 400 to 700 nanometer, and this is what is photosynthetically active radiation. This is again important information if you want to show up for your additional points in the exam when you're writing for the board exam. Fine. So this is all about sunlight you need to know. Let us move to the second requirement. The second requirement is photosynthetic pigments. Okay, before I move to photosynthetic pigments, I want you to keep in mind one more aspect, which is again important, and I think you should know that part. So where should I write? Okay. You know, maximum photosynthesis is going to take place in the red light or the blue light of the spectrum, and minimum or no photosynthesis takes place in the green light of the spectrum. All right. The reason being that green light is reflected completely. Now, if the question asks which of the following light will show maximum photosynthesis, your answer will be red light, blue light or white light. In that case, your answer will be white light, because white light has all the colors, and so the amount of photosynthesis when calculated will be maximum in white light. But otherwise, in red and blue light, maximum photosynthesis take place, and out of which red, if I compare red and blue, so red will show more photosynthesis. All right. So let us proceed further now with the next topic, which was photosynthetic pigments. Now you all know the main photosynthetic pigment is green pigment, the chlorophyll. But there are different types of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll A, B, C, D and E. And along with that, the bacterial cells have bacteriochlorophyll. Fine. Now, out of this, chlorophyll A and B are most abundant ones, and A is the most universal one. A is the most universal chlorophyll pigment. All right, because this chlorophyll A has reaction center. Reaction center for what? Reaction center for photosynthesis. All right. So chlorophyll, you know, is a green pigment, out of which A and B are abundant, and A is a universal pigment which has the reaction center for photosynthesis. All right. Now, what is the function of others then? Why are the others required? Are they not present? No, they're present. They're present in comparatively lesser quantities. And what their role is, they just capture the sunlight and they transfer it to chlorophyll A because it has the reaction center. So what all these are going to do? They are all going to trap the sunlight, because chlorophyll A alone cannot trap and start the process. So A is also trapping, and along with that, other molecules also trap the sunlight. and then they transfer it to the reaction center chlorophyll A. Just imagine, after having so many types of pigments, plants can use only 1% of the sunlight available. Only 1% of sunlight is being used in photosynthesis. Alright, so these pigments are trapping the sunlight, they're trapping the solar energy and transferring it to chlorophyll A molecules. Alright, now besides the green pigment, there are colored pigments also. These colored pigments are carotenoids, which have carotenes and phycobilins, carotenes and xanthophylls, and the other is phycobilins. Carotenes are orangish in color, xanthophyll is yellow, and phycobilins are red-brown in color. Fine. So the plants have green pigments for photosynthesis. They also have carotenoids which impart these colors to various plant parts. But then just imparting color is not their function. They play a very, very important role. And this important role is prevent the chlorophyll A from photo damage. Photo damage. Photo damage means they prevent the chlorophyll A from the damaging effect of UV rays. The UV rays can damage the reaction center. So for that, additional protection is required, and that is provided by the carotenoids. So carotenoids prevent photo damage. This is also referred to as photooxidation. Am I clear till here? I hope the two requirements, the sunlight and the photosynthetic pigments, are clear, because chlorophyll A is not the only pigment. Chlorophylls are of so many types, and you need to keep in mind these points. All right. Let us move to the next requirement, and the next requirement is the third one is carbon dioxide. Now, you know plants take up carbon dioxide from air, and where the air is getting carbon dioxide from, we are exhaling the carbon dioxide out. Yes, so that is why we need more plants, because if we have plants, plants will perform photosynthesis. Clear? So carbon dioxide is taken by plants if the plants are terrestrial. The carbon dioxide is taken from air, and the process involved is diffusion. The CO2 diffuses in. All right. And if the plants are aquatic, then the whole plant body surface, or the general surface of plant body, because aquatic plants are completely submerged in water, so they can easily take up that carbon dioxide from there, but here it is in the form of carbonates. Here it is in the form of carbonates, which is the dissolved form of carbon dioxide. The dissolved form of carbon dioxide is used by the aquatic plants. How are aquatic plants taking up this carbon dioxide? Aquatic plants take up this carbon dioxide through the small pores which are present on the surface of the leaves. You have heard the name of stomata. So this is the open stomata which has a nucleus and a number of chloroplasts. The stomata is surrounded by the cells. Stomata is itself this pore. Stoma, the singular form, and stomata, the plurals. So single opening on the leaf surface is stoma, and these are surrounded by the guard cells. These are surrounded by the guard cells. Now, as you can see here, these guard cells do have chloroplast. Now, what is the function of chloroplast? When we will discuss the site of photosynthesis, I'll tell you what is the function of chloroplast. Till then, you keep in mind that this is the organelle which is helping in photosynthesis. That means guard cells are the only epidermal cells to have chloroplast and can perform photosynthesis. Alright. Now, the stomatal opening and closing is guarded by these guard cells. So, guard cells is one thing, and we will talk about stomata. So, what is stomata? Tiny pores present on the surface of leaves and green plant parts. Tiny pores which are present on the surface of stomata or surface of the leaves and the green plant parts. All right. Now, these stomata mainly functions for what? It helps in gaseous exchange, and it also helps in transpiration. Now, what is transpiration? Transpiration is the process by which green plants lose extra water to the environment in the form of water vapors. The process by which additional or extra water is lost to the environment in the form of water vapors. All right. So, that process is also performed with the help of stomata. Now, what is the role of then guard cells? Guard cells, if I have to define, they are bean or kidney shaped cells. Surrounding the stomata. Surrounding the stomata. All right. And these bean shaped or kidney shaped cells, they are actually regulating the opening and closing of the opening and closing of stomata. They are regulating the opening as well as closing of stomata. How are they regulating? Come on, let's have a look at the mechanism quickly. So, guard cells around the stomata All right, these are open stoma. Now, what will happen? Why is it open? I'll tell you. And other one, I'll show you the closed stoma. So this is closed stoma. Now, why did it open and why did it close? The guard cells absorb water from the surrounding cells, all right, and they become turgid. Please remember, children, this is very, very important. This is again a very important question. How do guard cells regulate the opening and closing of stomata? So opening and closing of stomata is regulated by guard cells in this way that these guard cells absorb water, they become turgid. When they become turgid, then the stomata is going to open. All right. What is happening here? The structures will still remain the same. They will have chloroplast. They will have nucleus. All right. This does not mean that they will not perform photosynthesis. They'll do everything else. But when it is closed, it will not allow the stomata to perform its function. And how it will close? The guard cell is going to lose water in the surroundings. And this water makes the guard cells shrink. The shrink guard cells are known as flaccid, and this is why the stomata are going to close. So when guard cells are turgid, by absorbing water from the surrounding cells, the stomata open, and otherwise the stomata close. When they lose water, they shrink, and the shrunken state is called as the flaccid state. And this is why, or this is how, the opening and closing of guard cells is regulated. Now, what is the other function of the guard cell? This is one function. Second one, you can write only epidermal cell to perform photosynthesis. The only epidermal cell to perform photosynthesis. Other cells of the epidermis are not capable of performing photosynthesis, and the reason I've already told you, because it contains chloroplast. All right, so chloroplast is the main site for photosynthesis. Let's proceed further, children, with the last requirement. That is the fourth requirement. The fourth requirement is water. Now, water, you know, is taken up by the root hairs from the soil. The water is taken up by the root hairs from the soil. All right. Now, this water is very, very essential because it is playing two roles. The first one, water splits to release protons, electrons, and oxygen. All right. That means the oxygen which is given off as a byproduct in photosynthesis, from where is it coming? It is coming from splitting of water. This process of splitting of water is known as photolysis. Photolysis. Photo means light. In the presence of light, when splitting of water molecule takes place in the plants, it is called as photolysis. All right. So if we balance it out quickly, so this is how you will be balancing it. This is O here, 4 electron and 1 more molecule of oxygen. Clear? This is one very important aspect, because if this step is not happening, oxygen will not be released. The second important thing is that all the minerals, like if I give you example, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, iron, zinc, calcium, etc., 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 all the macro and the micro minerals, and right. So these are absorbed. These are uptaken from the soil only. These will also be absorbed from soil. So these are in ionic form. These are absorbed as ions. When these are absorbed as ions, that means they are dissolved in water and transported along with it. That means along with water, ion uptake takes place. All right. So that is why water is very, very essential now, because of photolysis and for uptake of ions from the soil. All right. So this is what is essential. Now, if let us say there is deficiency of water, there's scarcity of water in the soil. So what is going to happen? So the stomata is going to close. When the stomata will close, the rate of transpiration is going to decrease. It is going to go down. All right. And when the rate of transpiration, to lower the rate of transpiration, it is doing that. But along with that, the rate of photosynthesis will be directly affected. I hope I am clear with all the 4 requirements of photosynthesis. In the next lecture, I will tell you about the site of photosynthesis, the process of photosynthesis, and what is the significance of photosynthesis.